Wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine. 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 Wanna move my feet, wanna drink my wine.
Hey, journeyman. Women. All right. You know, what are we doing? What are we doing? People shooting up people all over the place. You got kids in school. You got people in the hospital. You got people on the street. What's the reason? What's the purpose? Is it mental illness? Is it anger? Is it not regulating your emotions? What we're going to talk about tonight on Hero's Journey with Dr. D. We're going to talk about tonight. But for so to start it out, what we're going to do is, if you find any value in this content, how about you help me help you so we can help others by clicking subscribe, commenting, and sharing? Because when you help me grow, you help me make a better tomorrow today. But for now, to start it off, let me greet everybody in the chat. Greetings, dirty men and women. Now, I may have misspelled the word. All right. All right, so let me go ahead and put the chat in here. Add guests, start you off right, so I won't get jokes from the gallery on the side, because they joked me hard last week. They said, "Dr. D, are we having a silent? Are we having a silent show tonight because we can't hear what you're saying? He said, we can't hear a word you say." I just want to just say, just go right across the faces, just I want to smack, but I can't. I ain't got smack sound, so I can't hit a horn and just made a sound. Made a sound. It's delayed. It's delayed. What's up with this? It don't matter. It don't matter. It's delayed, but not denied. All right. So let me go. This is what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna briefly talk about some of the issues that we have going across this land. I look at the news. I generally don't look at the news because the news is pretty depressing. But I think in light of the current events, we still need to talk about it. What we need to talk about, we need to talk about the reasons why. Uh, is all conjecture, is all our opinion, is even subjective. But if the conversation is started, maybe we have a better understanding of what we can expect. All right. Um, and so we can understand what we can expect going into the near future. We've had we've had numerous, I mean numerous encounters with gun violence um, in the inner cities and sometimes in the rural cities. So sometimes in the rural cities, but we leave a lot of things to the legislator, and because legislator holds the rules as far as allowing things to pass easily and making things more accessible to people. Um, and I'm about to pull up something real quick. Just what I read earlier. Let's just. Oh, I just got some new information about the mass shooting, but I was going to talk about the. Okay, let's go through it. Okay, so the man accused of killing one woman and injured four others in shooting Wednesday in Atlanta has been arrested following an hours-long manhunt. Police police said Dion Patterson, 24, was identified as the man who allegedly shot five women around midday. Around midday Wednesday in a waiting room on an upper floor of Northside Hospital. Atlanta Police Chief Darren Shingard told reporters during a press conference he said it was too soon to know whether the victims were targeted, and it wasn't immediately clear if the victims were patients or hospital employees. Let's talk about it. So that's just one issue, but there's another. As we go into discussion later on, is another event took place. I think Wednesday, where's this young lady, Midtown Atlanta, had a shooting, had a shooting as well, but they called custody of her earlier. But with this gentleman, he was on a run, and they eventually found him. That they found where they found him at. Let's go through this. They found him. Where did they find the guy? Well, Atlanta shooting is a custody at the house long manhunt. Suspect mass shooting. Authorities searched the nearly 8 hours after they said 24-year-old Dion Patterson opened fire in the waiting room of Northside Hospital Medical, killing a 39-year-old woman and sending four officers to the hospital before fleeing in a vehicle he carjacked. Nearby authorities were called to the scene just after noon Wednesday. Blah blah blah. The woman. Okay, we went through all that earlier. Cobb County was not alerted. The footage of blah blah blah. Patterson was apprehended in the condominium complex near Trust Park in roughly 7:45 p.m. in local time. Wow, what are we doing, people? What's going on? And this gentleman was he's a he's a veteran. He's U.S. Coast Guard. He just got out the U.S. Coast Guard in January 2023 this year. Now, this is several months after he got out. He's in the waiting room and he started to shoot people. Why? Is it due to situation that he experienced through in military service, or did he have a mental illness, or were the people targeted, and why were they all women? Those are things that make you go, hmm. Those are things that make you think and contemplate. But that's just one That's just one situation. Why are we having these shootings? Why are people shooting? Is it because things are easily accessible? Is it due to they lessened the gun permit laws in Georgia? Mm, mm, mm. And so tonight is the discussion. It's discussion about murder in Midtown. But Midtown, it wasn't just one person. It was just, but still, it's a travesty. Any way you look at it, it's a travesty. One person is dead. 4 people are fighting for their life, and yet we still live on. Um, who will fight for the people who can't speak anymore? Who will fight for the people who are helpless? And who will fight for the people who went to the hospital to get help, but ended up being hurt? Hmm. Okay, I got a question in the chat line. And so, okay, let me brief everybody on this. I put the I did, I know I did. I put the uh, I put the link in the chat line. I generally put the link in the chat line. So when we open up the floor, you can come on and give me your 2 cents. You may actually get a nickel back. Or if you choose not to come on, then you can actually you can put the chats in the chat line, and I will respond. Or somebody who comes on may respond, and we can have a discussion about this issue at hand. Okay. Um, and we have something. All right. All right. How do you talk to your kids? How do you feel put in? How do you talk to your kids about mass shootings? You wait for the right time. You wait for the right time to talk to them about people in general, and people being inconsistent, and people being um some people being products of the environment, some people being products of the well, most people are products of their household. But even individuals who come from a good household end up sometimes end up turning bad due to influences that they choose to stay around, and they have an impact on how they do things. Some things are choice, and some people. The argument would be that some people are just heavily influenced by our environments or the environments of things our things that are around us. Some people would actually say that, and in some cases, I would agree. But how do we get a hold on this? But to answer your question, Phil, you have to talk carefully to them, carefully. I would not give them the listings of everybody, all the shootings, because that could be somewhat overwhelming. And if it's overwhelming, then you may be instilling a spirit of fear instead of tactfully having a conversation with them. Everybody has a certain method. Every everybody has a certain reason. All right, all right. So I got one person on. So let me see. Phil, we doing audio tonight? All right, y'all. We bringing on Renee. Hello, hello.
Good evening.
It's Renee.
Good evening.
Good evening, good evening, good evening, good evening. All right, all right. No audio tonight. Okay. Uh, okay. So with my glasses, you get me. You get me double checking my eyes. Your yours halfway closing, and I keep tremendous large bags that I carry. Maybe I need some cucumbers to put on my underneath my eyes at night so I could take down the inflammation. or the itis, which is defined as inflammation. All right. Ooh, matches the color, matches my eyes. All right. And so, Renee, what do you have to say about these situations that's happening in your home place? Murders in the Midtown.
I mean, I think it's just a sign of the times. Um, Mankind consistently degenerates towards depravity. You know, I think there are things going on in our culture. Uh, I think even the numbers and statistics show that mental illness is definitely on the rise. Um, I think it's just the way things are these days. Um, yeah, it's pretty. Yeah, it is pretty crazy, but it's happening all over. I just really think mental illness is on the rise. I think a lot of people are
You,
suffering mentally.
I would agree. I agree. But what's in specifically dealing with this the gentleman who the ex serviceman who resides in Georgia. Well, they say he resides in Alabama somewhere else, but he was in Georgia at the hospital Midtown. Um, what would you say about him? Because they didn't say they don't really know if it was targeted at this current time. If it was targeted, why? My question is, first of all, why is he in the hospital shooting up people? Second of all, why you only shoot women?
Well, yeah, I mean, I think at this point it's so early. It's probably too early to tell. Um, I think somebody who does that obviously is not mentally stable. Did they say that he was in a veterans hospital?
Oh,
I
let's
heard you
see.
read he was in a veterans hospital or he was in a regular hospital.
Let me see. It's 3 women. Let's see. Suspect in the mass shooting of Midtown Atlanta medical building that left one woman dead and for 30 search for them. See, I don't think it was
Yeah,
as passenger was seen carjacked. Okay, vehicle and license plate, camera. Wait, cop kind of was not alerted. Blah blah blah. Oh, this is what happened. Suspect was seeking new treatment. A high-level source with Atlanta Police Department told CNN that according to Patterson's mother, the suspect was seeking new treatment after being dissatisfied with care he was receiving from Department of Veterans Affairs. CNN has reached out to the VA for comment. The suspect was a former Coast Guardsman. Yeah, is a VA. He was seeking
okay.
better care, and um, so I believe that he's seeking better care. Um, seems like some little trauma, but trauma was uh, a part of this. I mean, but it's all speculation because it hasn't came out as of yet. Let me see. Renee says, "Now you are Renee." Phil says, "Oh, Renee, read that for me."
I believe there is something more sinister to these mass shootings and lawlessness beyond mental illness. We use mental illness as a catch-all excuse. That's what Phil
Really?
said. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
What you think? Catch all.
No, I mean, yeah, no. I mean, people's minds are fracturing. I think there are things happening in our society that are remember the world as a whole, if you study just, for example, wars, if you put a chart and you just put down wars, the time frame, and the number of people killed in the wars, you will see that throughout history, the number of people killed in wars continuously grows. Mankind is in a fallen state, and he's continuously falling to a lower and lower state. He's falling away from being the image of God. So this depravity is a natural course of things, unless the antidote is being introduced into a situation, which is the gospel, which is Christ. You're going to get that. And then also the Bible says when the wicked are in authority, the people mourn. You know, leadership, when you have leadership and they're immoral, that it brings a decadence to the whole culture and society underneath them. So I just think man is in a fallen state, and he has been, and it's just getting worse. And as a Christian and studying the Bible, Jesus, the book of Revelation clearly says, yeah, it's going to keep getting worse. Now it'll get better for Christians because we're in a different, our reliance is different, but the world's going to continually get worse.
Well, with that same argument posed when back over in the early years of Thomas Friars, BC after Christ, when was the emperor Nino, as the emperor that actually his nickname was the Beast. Are
Mhm.
you familiar with what I'm talking about?
You're
His
saying
nickname, uh,
a particular emperor of Rome?
yes, well, he was massacring, I think, massacring Christians, and his let me look it up. Um, okay, let's see,
Was
let's
it
go here.
Diocletian?
Okay, Diocletian,
It was a Diocletian. I
that's
mean,
his
there
name.
were a number of. I think, if I'm correct, he may have been one of the more um,
It's
known
sinister.
ones that persecuted Christians, I
Yeah, he's
believe.
right. Um, okay, Google, which emperor was nicknamed the Beast?
According to Wikipedia, Nero was born Lucius Domitius Ahenobarbus on the 15th of
Oh,
December
Nero.
37 AD in
Okay,
Antium, modern
Nero.
Anzio.
Yeah, Nero.
Nero.
At the
Okay,
time was yeah Nero. Yeah, in a time of Nero, uh, it was thought that that was really the end time, and that the Christ is coming back because Nero's the persecution of a lot of Christians, and everything was happening to the same, and even the identity thing, a lot of stuff that was happening at that time as well. Well, that kind of poses the decadence or the demise of civilizations at certain junctures in time. So, my point is, you said that it does say that, it talks about Revelations about these are signs of times, but wouldn't that same argument posed back then, or it's
no,
just extended?
no. I think it wouldn't because there were things that were just not in existence then that are now. Um, that and the prophecies that just they didn't exist. For example, and those times something could not happen in one part of the world and you see it in another part that couldn't happen. Now, the book of
Okay,
Revelations and prophesied that would happen. It can happen now because now we have internet, we have TV. So the Bible predicted these things will come to pass. So my point is saying, what I'm saying, we live in a fallen world. It is continuously going to a more depraved state. The antidote or the force that can push back at it is Christ and the gospel. That's the antidote. That's the
right,
medicine to the sickness that's overcoming the world. But Christians, in my opinion, not all, but many, we're not applying it. I personally think the
okay.
leadership, in my opinion, is just not very good right now. So as a
In
result,
general,
in general, yeah, it's not good right now. So as a result, we know these things are going to come to pass. We knew that, but it doesn't have to completely saturate the culture, right? But I think
right?
once again, we're not really applying the antidote. When the wicked are in authority,
Right.
and I think
So
you might.
let's pull it from perspective.
What'd you say? I think you might remember this when we were on
I'm saying
evangelistic feed. That was
let's
one
put
of
with his authority. Yeah, with,
when we were on the,
yeah, I
remember that
do
was one
remember
of
that
our
one.
theme
That
scriptures.
part
When the wicked are in authority, the people mourn.
after, yeah, they grown, they mourn, yeah, they mourn. But when the righteous are, people celebrate for the most part. They celebrate when the righteous are. However, it's either you know some okay. And you put it from perspective is that it's ideally if everybody was right, then we will have a better civilization. But even the end time said he's gonna pull a wheat the weak and the weak the wheat and the weeds will grow together. And the end, the weeds be thrown out. So
The wheat and the
unfortunately, we're in
tares.
civilization, the wheat and tears, yes.
Yeah, okay.
And so unfortunately, we're in civilization where we grow together. So since in light of us growing together, how would you say that local government plays a part in the massacres? Because like I stated earlier, um, I just read that some rules have been lessened as far as the hand carry permit. That
Yeah,
makes it
Georgia's an
easier.
open carry state now.
Yeah, and forget the Wild Wild West. Go to South. Really, Dirty South got a whole new meaning. I mean, yeah. So if I could walk up in a hospital, open carry without a permit,
Well, now, no, now the laws, if I'm correct, people need to understand they're not that. Um, it doesn't supersede a place or facility that does not allow guns, right?
so does
So
a hospital not allow guns?
say again.
Does a hospital not allow guns?
As far as I know, they do not. Now, if my understanding is whatever the business is, they will post it or it'll be, no firearms allowed. That doesn't mean that you can supersede that. This particular person that did this, like I said, I don't know the full situation. I'm just theorizing. Obviously, he was mentally unright. Obviously. Now, why? Well, I mean, it's gonna have to be research done into his life as to what. Obviously, there was something going on with him for him to snap like that. That's not normal. And all over, people are snapping all over because there are various things in our culture that is fracturing people's minds. Like I was watching a YouTuber earlier today. He was going over a study, and what the study was showing was that uh, um, as the sexual revolution has advanced, mental illness, particularly amongst women, has skyrocketed. Right? It was bad
Right. Okay.
with men, still bad with men, but even amongst women. So what I'm saying is there are behaviors, there are activities coming into our culture that are fracturing our minds. Like I believe people's over obsessive exposure to social media, um, to comparison, having things dangled in front of you, constantly telling you that your life is incomplete, that you just you need more, you know, anger, frustration. These things are happening. They've been happening. They're just climbing as always. The answer is the gospel in Christ. Now we know everyone in this world is not going to become a Christian. We already know that. But I do believe that Christians have
Right.
an ability to saturate a city, an area to where these issues won't be dominant. And that, in my opinion, is what we're not doing. The
Well,
world is going to
to
get
interject,
worse. Huh?
right? But to interject, even if a person is not a Christian, the principles still work. The history, Napoleon wasn't a Christian, but he still believed the principles in the Bible worked. A lot of people are not Protestant, they're Christians, but the principles work. So if we just take if we take the argument that you need to be a Christian, how about you just follow the book? Why? Because it's a track record that it works. Um, and if there's some type of it say that we're a Christian nation, but really we're not. We're agnostic. It's agnostic, or more it's theist, not agnostic. We're theist culture. Um, but even being theist, you have certain moral code. But then that's been shifted. It's been shifted. And so what's the code? What's the rule? Even when we talk about a previous time, we talk about gang culture. Gang
Hmm.
culture had a code, but even that's out the window. I mean, because in Chicago, you just knew not to go into gang territory, not to get shot. Now that's where I was growing up, but now uh they kind of cross. You don't know you just you civilian and you get shot. It don't matter what you got on. I mean, so there's no code in the culture, and it's come to a time where sometimes you don't know. So Christians don't have code either. You can't tell the difference.
Yeah, that's sad and unfortunate. Yeah, yeah.
Right. So so people say, "Well, I'm Christian. I'm Christian. I do all this okay." Yeah, but then you look the way you walk, the way you talk. What's the difference? And and then you look at that. Well, we're using this into law, and then you got one side to say we're extreme religious, the other say we're not. We're extreme liberal. But truth matter, both of them lie.
Mhm.
A lot of time, and I'm just speaking from just my opinion. I think one line to get power, the other was line to get power. But they do anything to get power. Some will fold the uh some people will fold the gun rights. Say they need more gun rights. They just saying it because they can get power. Other people saying we don't need gun rights because we need to defend ourselves. But I would argue that a lot of that is conjecture as well, just for power. And because somebody's padding their pockets, which gives them power. But they probably won't go anywhere about their security detail. And so it's like, yeah, yeah, no, I just no, just let everything be free, like the Wild Wild West. Like uh, people, like you said, it's a person. The argument with the concealed gun is that I don't need a permit, and they may have the sticker on the door in the front, but not on the side. I suppose
But
like
that
you
doesn't
read
matter.
English,
They would still be liable.
right? But the death already happened.
Right, exactly. I mean, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, you're right. They'd be liable, but so and that would be their argument. Is not malicious intent. I didn't do it with any intent. But however, Your Honor, I just not see. I didn't see, and I just got my prescription, my glasses fixed.
That won't matter because ignorance of the law is no excuse. They would still be liable. Like there was a
Yeah,
man here.
they'd be.
Go ahead. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello?
you perfect. Go ahead.
Oh, no, there was a
I hear
man here.
you.
A kid was breaking into his car and he shot the kid. He didn't kill him. He shot him. But now they're pressing charge against, they're filing charge against him because you can't shoot a person to stop them from stealing a property. If he was in the car, he could shoot shoot in self defense. But you actually can't shoot a person to stop them stealing your property. Um, so whether he knew that or
Was it
not
on his
doesn't
property?
matter. He's going to be liable. What'd you say?
Was it on his property?
Yeah, he was breaking into a man's car. And the guy, I guess, to stop him, shot
That could
him.
be on the street though. That could be on the street, so that's public property. But if he's on his property, it's different.
No, he was. Yeah, the my understanding, the car. It was a car. He it was parked in his front yard, and the kid was breaking into. He came out and shot. So you can't do that. You can't use deadly force to stop someone. Now, if he was in the car, then it'd be legal. Um, but I mean, my point is saying, yeah, the gun laws vary from state to state. So I guess you have to kind of know your state and what the laws are, what the limitations are. I personally do believe that people should be able to own guns. Now, I don't think they should be able to own full automatic, machine, that type of stuff, but I think they should be able to own guns. But I think the laws need to
AK-47.
be. No, I don't think not like full automatic machine guns or anything like that. I don't see anything wrong with shotguns and handguns to protect your home and to protect your person, right? Um, Not to go out. Now, some of these states would have stand your ground where if they put their hand on you, well, that's
That's
different.
Florida, right?
Florida, and I actually think we have that now in Georgia also. I think they may have it in Texas too. I'm not sure, but I definitely know it's in Florida, and I believe it's here. But some people don't understand the parameters of that. It doesn't mean you can go out and um, just shoot people because, like, a guy shot a guy. The man from the repair shop got in his car to take it in, and somehow he mistaken thought the guy was stealing his car, and he shot him. So they're charging him. He's being charged, I think, with I'm not sure the
But
charge.
this is a different situation.
Yeah, this is a different situation.
And
So I guess
repair,
whatever state you in, you just need to know you need to, if you're in a state that doesn't allow handguns or what, you need to really just know what the law is and what the parameters are. Don't make any assumptions because, um, because like, for example, what I know, I'm told in California, hey, it doesn't matter. You're going to jail, you know. Um, Someone told me in California, if someone's breaking into your home and you come down, you see them, you got to call the police. If you give them a good old fashioned whooping with a baseball bat, so they could actually sue you. The criminal breaking into your house could sue you. So I asked the guy, well, what are you supposed to do? He said, you just have to wait and the police come. I was like, well, won't he be gone by then? He's like, yeah. So this is somebody I met from California. This is what he says is going
but
on there. He said, yeah. So I said, so let me get this straight. Someone's breaking into your house. You come down, you see them, and you cannot physically. He said, no, if you can, but it's probably gonna go against you. You're gonna end up being charged. And I said, wow, okay, that's different.
I'm trying to protect my family. But did they charge LL Cool J when he broke the rib to that guy came in his room in his house?
I don't think so. I don't think so. And that
You
was
remember
in where
LL?
LL Cool J
Like
lives.
broke, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, he beat
I
up
think
some
he
guy
took.
trying to break into his house, right?
Yeah,
Um,
Boogie. Yeah, he said he hurt him bad. That bad. He beat him up.
yeah, yeah. But I'm saying all this to say
Um,
yes. So what
okay,
you said
Google.
earlier is
How
correct.
bad did LL Cool J beat up the intruder in his house? What's that?
Comedy Art News. I'm John Apple.
That's the wrong one.
Google can answer everything, huh?
Yeah. Okay. Hey, handle it. L, okay. 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 Let's listen to this. LL Cool J breaks the silence. Hold on a second.
I want to talk about your family, but I have to, and I know you can't talk about this season. During the summer, somebody broke into LL's house, and they broke into the wrong house in the middle of the night because, I mean, I can't even imagine that that happening, because your family, everybody's there, home, and you there, which must have been frightening, mostly for him, because it was like, oh, this is not the house I thought I was breaking into. I didn't know this thing lived here. I didn't know.
That's funny. Yeah, that's funny.
That's all you have to do.
Hit his arms.
I did what any man would do.
Yeah, well, you had to take care of your family, and you had to, especially, you had to wait for the police for a while. So that's scary too. Anyway, I know you can't talk about it, but I just think it's amazing what you did. So good for you for being able to protect your family.
He beat him up. Yeah,
Give him a good
beat him up. He
old-fashioned
can't talk
whooping.
about it because I guess, like you said, he can't talk about it because the guy probably tried to sue him or something.
Yeah, who knows? But to your point earlier, yeah, so everyone's not going to be a Christian, but I think Christians can greatly influence the culture if we allow ourselves to get out there, promote our values, move into positions that we're allowed to move in. We can, and I believe that right now we're not doing that, not to the extent that we can. As the world gets darker, Christian light should shine brighter and brighter.
Sure.
It should shine, and right now it's just, in my opinion, it's just not happening.
And how can you if you look at this? How can you influence the world, your community, your neighborhood, if you can't even influence your house?
Agreed. Agreed.
Yeah, yeah. So everybody want to, yeah, everybody want to showboat. Everybody want to be all this, but they can't even affect their own kids. And I believe this wholeheartedly. I believe that as you work on yourself, the people around you will be affected as you walk in sincerity. And some maybe not, but as you walk, I think everybody will be affected by your walk, your honest walk, not the hypocritical walk. They may be see because what happens when a person is hypocritical walk is a person see the shine, they see all that, but then they may accidentally see the flaw, and the flaw is going to just send them over the edge. Yeah, I think the flaw send them over the edge because then it start appearing that everybody crooked, everybody wrong. It's not real because you're not living real, and nobody's perfect in it. And nobody's perfect, and we all have flaws. But let's not fake the funk. Let's not fake the funk. I mean, yeah, let's not fake the funk. What Phil said? Phil says, what can we do from a societal standpoint to remedy these mass shootings and crimes? Societal. So now we know now we know what we can do as Christians, but what can we do as society? What'd you say, Renee?
Walk around with bulletproof vests on. I mean, can we do anything societally?
Because to your point earlier is that for even if it's about Christians shining light, but everybody say they're Christian. It's a Bible Belt.
Yeah, saying you are and being it is something else.
That's true. So pulling away from that. So how you said, how can you affect change? What can we do from the societal standpoint to remedy these mass shootings and crimes? To remedy them, putting a bulletproof vest is protecting yourself. But how would you remedy or stop the progression of these isolated events?
Well, if, can you? I mean, how can you? I mean, you can take a fantasy.
We had to try to do something.
Yeah, I mean, but you ever seen the cartoon when Bugs Bunny's by the dam and a hole erupts and he puts his ear on it, and another tiny hole he puts his foot on it, and another tiny hole he puts it, and he's trying to like in the that's what you're doing when you try to do something based on human power. Okay, let's take the fancy standpoint. You could eliminate guns, but that's impossible. There are more guns in the United States than there are citizens. You know what I'm saying? So that would be a ludicrous, but that's not going to happen. It's impossible. You know. So what I'm saying is, yeah, you could try to do it societally, but I think that's just a wasted effort, in my opinion.
So, as far as society goes, how do you think things in the legislature can impact the change?
We need more real Christians to be in the legislature
Y-
to help move the laws in
Yeah.
the right directions.
Okay. If no Christians in the legislature,
And welcome to
how
hell
can the
on earth.
legislation?
welcome, welcome to hell on earth. You know exactly.
Okay.
Okay, like for
Yeah.
example, here's one thing.
Okay.
Here's something. Here's something we could
I,
do.
s-
For
I'm saying
example,
how legislation. Go ahead.
the other day, once I saw
Huh?
a guy with he had a gun on him. Now, my understanding is even with open carry, you have to be over 21. He did not look over 21. I personally think somebody like that. Now, people say, "Well, how are you gonna?" He should. The police should be able to check him. He looked like a teenager. So, but see, we don't
I
want
get
that.
that all the time.
That you look like a teenager. Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Getting
20 years
back
ago.
to
20 years ago.
yeah, I believe like um people like that he should be checked. Okay. Um, but we don't want that. You know, like not we shouldn't be extreme. Like New York, they used to have stop and frisk. Okay, that's a bit extreme. That's a bit extreme. Okay, but here's another societal thing. You want to increase some societal? Let's start punishing parents for what their kids do. That'll change society. Your kid try to break in some your kid try to break in someone's car or break in they catch him, no problem. You're gonna get 10% of whatever he gets. He going to juvenile detention for 6 months. You going to jail for a month. I bet you parents will start raising their kids better then. So here, there's a societal suggestion. Let's start making parents more, especially when they're under 18, more responsible for their kids. Your kids out here breaking in people's
So,
cars, doing home invasions, they going to jail, and you going to jail too. Not as much as them. So some kid armed robs these like in Florida, these little 15-year-olds commit an armed robbery. He commits armed robbery, robs somebody, all right, hurts them. We're gonna try him as adult. He going to jail for I don't know, whatever, 5 years, whatever. You going to jail for 6 months.
this Phil said, okay, I read the last statement I read up. He said, oh my God, lock those single moms working, uh, lock up those single moms working 2 jobs.
Yeah. Yeah, make it known. I bet you the rate
Yeah.
of single moms will go down. I bet you the enough let that go out into the society and the culture. I guarantee you the number of single mothers and single fathers, I bet you the number will go down. I bet you men will
Yeah,
start
yeah, it's
making
true.
sure they
So,
wear condoms more and more. Let a man know, okay,
and
I bet you men will start getting vasectomies more. I bet you they'll start wearing condoms more.
or and maybe be like, listen, let's just have a partnership here. Let's make it do what it do. Yeah, I mean, so we ain't trying to go to jail. So let's have a part. Even if they're not, if none of
yeah,
you involved in what to do, just
yeah,
have a just make agreement.
yeah. More men
Yeah,
will probably
we
get
just
married.
raising the kids.
Yeah, you know.
I saw a clip on I saw a clip I saw a clip on about it's a show called No. Is it Novak or something? Um, Nozark. And the the guy was with the wife, and he said something like, the guy that you was messing around with, when you hit the ground, I was happy, since I was happy, messing around with. She's like, but I'm your. He said, listen, I'm your wife or something. He said, listen, let's get this straight. You know, we ain't married. We business partners. We we're business partners specifically to raise up our kids. And so I can give a flying beep. What you doing is that we're business partners. So I don't have any. And so what about what you did with such and such? And she just shut up. So let's not get it twisted. We just business partners. So do what you got to do, but we're gonna do what we do for the kids. So even with that saying that, if more people, if they ain't gonna be together, if they make a agreement because it was a contract. Let me see what Renee said. Not Renee said, but Phil said. Okay, I hear. I think he talked about Georgian. He said, "Okay, I hear you guys just build more jails and lock them all up."
Mhm.
Is he talking about
Well,
Georgian?
huh?
Are you
I
talking about
think I
Georgian?
think he's talking about all over.
Phil.
I think he's talking about all over.
Okay, they just lock them up. Because it's lucrative. Just think about it. If I can, uh, I get federal funding to build more private prisons. But if I have private prisons, I need people to work the private prisons. This is modern day slavery.
Hmm.
So I get kickbacks for getting people in there from juveniles to adults, and we have different occupations that that they can work. I picked up a guy, and he said, we got something. We got about $3 $2 an hour." He said, when I get out, I get a little check, but 2,000 $2,000 a year, something like that. He's in jail though. He's in federal, so he had a job, and they paid him like $1.50, $2 an hour, something like that. And when he get out, then they gave him, or no, they gave him a check monthly. He gave him a check monthly, man. But then again, he was in federal too.
Hmm.
So,
Hmm.
but that's the occupation. You think the more jails that are more penitentiaries that are built and privatized, is more cheap labor.
Right.
So as opposed to a company saying, "Listen, I'm a contract this prison to do these works." And it can be a whole bunch of it can be light labor, and it can be
Hmm.
trustees working computers for pennies on a dollar. It's
Hmm.
lucrative.
Yeah, but
You don't need a
yeah,
ship
that is
anymore.
true. Yeah, it is true. Yeah. But the way in my opinion, one of the ways you reduce crime is you have to be hard on crime. That's how Giuliani cleaned up New York. He did something that when I left out of that place, I didn't even think was possible. When I left New York City, my attitude was this place sucks. I hate this place and I'm never coming back. And years later, when they told me what he did, I was stunned. One of the ways you reduce crime is you have to be hard on crime. Okay. So I'm not necessarily against private prisons or jails and all that. Um, the goal would be to keep them empty before you get what I'm saying? Because it's not like these people who build those prisons are going out and making people commit crimes. They're just capitalizing on what's already occurring. They're just like a catcher's net. They're seeing where it's falling, and they're putting their net out to catch to make money off of it. If you see what I'm saying.
That's true. That's true in some cases, but what about people that are falsely accused because they just need numbers? I mean, what about people that are profiled because we still need numbers? Some are innocent, but some are not, but the ones that are innocent, they don't care because they meet the criteria, the profile. So we got to feed the piper.
No, no,
So you say,
so
well,
that's
don't
corruption.
well just don't be in that area,
Yeah, okay. Now that's
right?
corruption. So
But
simultaneously
I
we
believe
need
it's
to fight
but
corruption.
I believe it's a combination of both.
Right. So we have to fight corruption.
Okay.
I agree with that. You know, but one thing I just believe that one way can reduce crime is by being really hard on crime. You have to, and we see from what I'm understanding, what's happening in California is because for years they've been continuously more and more lenient on crime, and it just emboldens criminals, and it gets worse and worse. Yeah.
Okay. Uh, and what they said, Phil said, for real, fellas, give me something we all can do to it. Maria, Mayor Renee, or Governor Dr. D. All can do
Well,
it
you go, Governor G. I know what I would do as the
to
mayor,
address.
but what would you do as the governor?
Lock them up, lock them up, lock them.
What did you just say? Are you
Um,
cussing? Oh,
as governor, are you smoking? um, no, I'm not cussing. It's a lock them up, lock them up. No, when they say lock them up, but you have to. I agree with you. Some laws have to be. You have more tighter reins. You have more tighter reins and fight corruption almost simultaneously. Like for instance, when they was looting Chicago during the pandemic, they was looting Chicago. My sister in Hyde Park, she said that no, we said they had their own security force in Hyde Park. Said no windows got burst in Hyde Park. Uh, because they're protecting their area, and so it was the governor was the mayor, and you would protect your area. You have to have better accountability and oversight upon people under you, and you got less the corruption. They have to balance the corruption.
mhm.
What'd you do, Mayor Renee?
Yeah. So a few of the things I mentioned, I would do. I would start making parents more responsible for their kids. That's one thing I will do from the just a purely societal standpoint. But I believe the ultimate answer is, and I'm going to say it's just that I believe it strongly in my heart. Christians need to go back to their first love, Christ. They need to go back to having a
Hmm.
Christ-centered life. The more Christians see Jesus, the more they become like God, and they start to live it out, and it'll affect everything they do. So when they become so we so when they become politicians, they become the sanitation worker, the police officer, the parents, the judge, and so what happens is, as Christianity flows throughout a city or a culture, it changes that city and culture, right? So you'll have more men who will marry women and only have sex with those women and children with those women, stay with those women, raise those kids together, and the numbers are clear. There's been a ton of research that shows that two-parent homes, on average, not absolutely, and it doesn't say that single-parent homes all fail, but the numbers are very clear. Two-parent homes
Hmm.
raise, on average, not every people gonna say, "Oh, Renee, I know this person." I'm not saying on average they raise more successful children with lower crime rates, lower suicide rates, lower prison incarceration rate, lower STD rates. The research has been done. But Christianity can help people do that, because Christianity is one of the cultural ideologies that teaches people, hey, wait, don't stop fornicating. Like the guy was saying in a YouTube video earlier, they did a chart and they showed that the more sex partners you have before marriage, the less satisfied you are with your spouse in marriage, which shows the
It's
Bible
always a
has been
comparison.
right all along. The Bible's been saying that for thousands of years,
It's,
but we don't want to listen. And now you're doing research, and the
hmm
research is proving what the Bible's been saying all along is true.
Well, yeah, it's I think it's constant comparison. Even though you say I'm not conscious to compare, no, you compare. You can't help but compare because you connect yourself to too many different people. So I agree with you as far as yeah we need to get back down to some a more core, and
Mhm.
a lot of people's more core is shot.
Mhm.
And we believe as Christians that the moral core is in the Bible and is in Christ. And
And
even
we need
those
to restore fathers.
who
We need to restore
right.
fathers and true
And
men to our culture and society.
and I think that even those who are non-believers, just the whole culture in general, like I agree with your fathers, the society, the nucleus of the household, creates a balance within the community. Have a healthy family, you have a healthy neighborhood, healthy community, city, state, world. But 6 degrees of separation, yeah, if we can connect to be better, it's always better together than by yourself. So one more question. I think we close this out. What about folks who are not Christians who are committing crimes?
Put them
I
in
just
jail.
stated that, right? No,
Yeah.
I thought what? Yeah, put them in jail.
Yeah.
What about folks who are not Christians who are not no who are not who what do you say?
He said,
What
what
about
about
folks who
folks
are
who
not
are not
Christians who are
Christians
committing
who are
crime?
committing crimes? Put them in jail, make them suffer. And when they get out, they won't do it no more.
Even if they were Christians,
Put them in jail
because
too.
Christians can fall too. Put them in jail. Put them in jail
Yeah.
too. They
Yeah.
they get closer to God. They get oh, Lord, I
Yep.
messed up. He said, okay, I'm gonna talk
Not
to
as
you
long
in
though. Not as
solitaire.
long. No.
But he no, yeah, no. That's
That's my
bias right
personal
there.
biases,
Yeah.
but never mind that. Yeah.
That's bias. Person bias. Oh, I didn't know. I didn't know. It's okay. God knew. So you put them in jail, both in jail. Yeah, but the difference is that the one who's a believer, ones who's a believer, God gonna speak loud to him. Then he gonna be all convicted. The one who's not the believer, he may find God there. He may find God there. All right. All hearts and minds clear. I mean, this was good. So I'm gonna close out and make a suggestion. Put in the chat line as any other type of videos you need me to do, as far as a general discussion like we're doing now, discussion and Q&A, or a feature video I need to do so we can do a recap, update, and Q&A. So just let me know, people. All right, Nate, sir.
Have a good night. God bless.
God bless. Let me
Jesus
see.
Christ, the way, the truth, and the life.
All right, I gotta cut you off. Love it, love it. Hey, gentlemen, gentlemen, this is the Hero's Journey with Dr. D. Thank you for coming out, showing your support live and replay. If you find any, if you have found any, how about so we can help others? Click and subscribe, commenting, me, help build and grow with me, so we can all make it better tomorrow, today. If you don't remember anything else, before I say that, if you look up on a replay, look to your left, your right, you see two playlists. And now I'm currently doing a couple new segments on my YouTube channel. I have Ride and Share with Dr. D, and I have In Them Streets with Dr. D. INDEM Streets. One's all audio, and one has video content on it. One's all audio, one has video content on as well. And then I'm doing my future videos. I'm looking toward future in the future doing guided meditations and one-on-one interviews. If you are one that would like to do an interview, just let me know and we can set up a time. And you too can be on the hero's journey with Dr. D. Give me your 2 cents and may actually get a nickel back. Now, if you're finding value in this content, go ahead. Help me help you so we can help others by clicking subscribe, commenting, and sharing. And if you have not obtained anything else from this broadcast tonight, remember this: every day you get up vertical, make it your goal in life to always move forward and never look back. Life is just too short to live it looking in the rearview mirror. So this is a hero's journey with Dr. D, and we are out.